this publishing house started, with an idea, with a dream, with a vision. And I don't know what attracted Gary and Carol to kind of commit their life to something that had such a feeble start. But that's what they did, and I think that's what one of the lessons is. That something can be small and fragile and whatever you want to say about it, but if it's something that God's hand is upon, and those in leadership will commit their ways to Him and seek His guidance and His empowering, something like this can grow out of it.
Coming through the door at the first time 5 years ago and seeing what's happening at Bethany House, I want to tell you what I saw. First of all, the Johnsons are godly people, and they have gathered other godly people around them to publish Christian books. The Johnsons are ambitious, and they've gathered people of similar level of ambitions, and the Johnsons are people of integrity, and they have attracted many other people, and their company now reflects that same integrity.
Carol, this is for you. I just want you to know that you have been a great influence in my life. I wrote it in a letter, I put it in a card, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity you gave me to work with you at Bethany, for the privilege of knowing authors and using my gifts and developing my gifts under your leadership. You made a difference in my life.
I've worked with a lot of publishing houses through Koshel Peterson now, and I can tell you Gary is one of the as fine a publisher as I've met.
And I just hope I can have carried myself with the integrity and with the character that you have. And it's just been an honor and a privilege for me to work with you, just actually alongside you as a fellow publisher in this industry. And we're grateful at Harvest House for our friendship and for what you've done in the industry.
So 30 years ago, in 1978, I had a manuscript laying on my shelf, and I had no idea what to do with it. I was very green. The first thing I did was the wrong thing. I bundled it up and sent it off to Bantam Books because I was hoping it would get to not just the Christian market, but I wanted to share my faith with others as well. It came right back with the nice little note in there that we do not accept unsolicited manuscripts. And I thought, well, there's not much chance they're going to solicit mine. So I'd better find out how you really do this. And so my husband brought me home some books from the college library, and I began to read. And they said in there, you do not ever send out a cold manuscript. You send query letters. So I took the advice and sent out a few query letters, and the first one came back, I won't tell you from where, saying this does not fit our present publishing schedule, which I discovered was a very nice way of saying we don't want this. And then I got a letter from another editor saying we will look at it, and it was signed by Carol Johnson. And you can't imagine what it did for me to see a lady's name as the editor of that company, because I was at that point writing for women, young women, and I thought if anybody understands what I'm trying to do here, it will be another woman. I didn't really find out until later how much Carol had to fight to get the opportunity for that book to be published. But thank you, Carol, for fighting. And thank you, Gary, for listening.
And what they have done is they have invested in the lives of people in whom they saw potential, like Lance said a few minutes ago. People who maybe had a book in them, people who sometimes were by no means fully developed, but treated them with gentleness and with kindness, developing the gifts, inviting them to become, as Davis said, their friends.
When I first came to Bethany House and sat at that big conference table, and Carol, you looked at me and I'm gonna get choked up, and you said, you're not just an author to me, you are a family member to us, and we are gonna pray for you, and you're gonna pray for me. And I sat there right then and said, oh God, thank you so much.
We had just purchased our first home, and it's on the ocean between Melbourne Beach and Vero Beach in Florida. And we had been in the house for 78 days, and news came in that a hurricane Category 4, this was long before Katrina, it was the strongest hurricane to ever take aim at the east coast of the United States. The eye was headed for our house, and the week before the hurricane was to hit, we received a notice from our insurance company that they were canceling our insurance. And the first person that I called was my mother, and the second person that I called was Gary. They have been a blessing, and we will miss them terribly. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in honoring Lifetime Achievement winners Gary and Carol Johnson.